Hello and welcome to the Canalys Channel Chief Interview Series. Today I'm delighted to welcome Sylvaine Smith, who is EMEA Head of Chrome Commercial Channels at Google. Sylvaine, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, hi, Alastair. Welcome.
It's great to see you again. It's been a while. Now we're going to take you through a set of questions to understand how the pandemic has affected Google and also what sort of opportunities you're seeing for your partners. So let me start by asking the first question. It's great, of course, to welcome Google Chrome Enterprise to our Canalys forums. The theme of this year is Thrive. So can you talk about how you have been thriving in 2021? So are you back to the office? Are you back on planes? Are you meeting customers? Can you talk a bit about that?
I think really good question. And I think, in 2020, I think everybody is quite aware, the world's been turned upside down and we've all had to change and adapt to the new situation. And 2021 is continuing to be quite a bit of a change. And in terms of the business in enterprise, it actually has been thriving. So we've all been thriving with it in this year. And the reason for that is mostly a lot of us are aware, we are sort of like in the mode of return to office, but we've also embraced a lot of the cloud infrastructure and applications when we were working remotely. Ourselves and all our customers and partners have been very busy focusing on understanding how they can make the most of it, and still today, even though we're thinking of returning to the office, it's not going to be like it was. So everybody's adapting and using these new technologies, and luckily Chrome Enterprise can really help as it fits really well in that environment of cloud and remote working, distance learning. So Chrome Enterprise has been thriving too.
Absolutely. And obviously, we've seen a huge growth in Google devices, Chrome devices out in the market, in education, in public sector, and many other sectors. And it's really given Google a massive boost in terms of your footprint, your market share in enterprise and education customers and so on. So maybe you could talk a bit about that from a partner perspective. How have your partners been thriving this year, if we could focus on this year?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, Chrome OS has really gone to the next stage. And the latest data from IDC is actually showing between last year and this year only 152% growth year on year for hardware sale in Chromebooks. Obviously we've been very busy supporting the growth, and our partners have also been busy embracing that journey and being part of that journey, learning and growing together with us. So it's been very exciting, and also from a personal perspective as well, looking at the ecosystem that we're working with. What was really amazing to see this year was how, because of the growth and the fact that we had to keep up with that momentum, how our different partners who had specific focus have been really working so well together to actually be able to satisfy the demand. So also in terms of the channel ecosystem, it's really nice to see how everybody's embracing the change and working together much more closely than ever before.
Have you got specific examples of how that's working and where it's working? So is it hardware partners working with application partners, or vertical partners working with horizontal partners? What sort of things you've been seeing?
Yeah, different things. We've seen, for example, in the education market, there's been a lot of training going on because most customers have been using the basics applications, but we've embraced more and more of the features of what was available. So some of our training partners, for example, have really taken up the lead and are supporting us in terms of going to market and training other partners and customers. And then on the enterprise side, a bit like you said, some of the hardware partners were really focused on, getting hand of the hardware and shipping and deploying. And they work very closely with maybe service partners to embrace more, the digital transformation, the change management of the deal, or the professional services. So really depending on the deals really and what the requirements for the customers were, we see a dynamic between the partnerships and how they can work and support each other.
Yeah, that's fascinating. We're seeing a lot of that as well in the industry more broadly. So are you, as a result of this, are you recruiting more partners? Is your ecosystem expanding?
Yeah, I would say it's a really good question, because generally speaking, it's all about how many partners have you got in your ecosystem. But really the way we are looking at it from a Chrome perspective is really adding value. And we always, and that's a Google theme that you will see in different entities within Google, but the theme is really looking at the user experience and what benefits we can bring to the users. And that's where we start. So we're looking more at what value can we add and what benefits can we bring to the user together with our partners, because obviously we don't do that ourselves. We go exclusively through the channel. So it's really embracing more of the value add and really working closely with the partners to identify what else could be great for the customers and who can deliver on that and who can thrive on it. The expansion part is more on a geographic level, and it's more so of course on a local level we're embracing value add into the channel, and we're not bringing a lot of partners. We want to work with partners who are really proactive with us and not just opportunistic. So ideally we want to embrace that as a message. And then on the expansion part, it's more around the geographic coverage. As we've been expanding the team and expanding the network of partners across the regions, but mostly in regions where maybe we didn't have so much presence before, or where we saw a high demand, and therefore we had, to fulfill the demand with different types of partners in those territories. So the expansion is more on a geographic level, I would say.
Okay, very good. We talked about the partners adding value around Chrome Enterprise and on behalf of Google. What sort of value are you looking to your partners to deliver to customers? Can you talk us through any examples?
Yeah, definitely. So picking an example is hard because there's just so many of them, and highlighting a specific case or a specific partner is also difficult because partners are doing amazing things in terms of the projects they're working on with us, but maybe to the point of highlighting something that's gone above and beyond what we would expect. I would like maybe to bring up the project with Randstad. So Randstad is a customer who is specialized in human resources consulting firm. It's a pan-European customer, so they've got presence in France, in Benelux, in Italy, and in other countries as well. And what they are embracing is really looking at IT, maybe from a different perspective, and really looking at the digital transformation and how they can embrace that from a technology perspective and from a solutions perspective. Mm-hmm. And we've worked on this project together with our OEM partner Acer, and also with a partner called Econocom, who's been the loyal partner of us, and where we've done a few joint projects together. And this particular one, Econocom, has really stood up, whereby they really understood the need of the customer, and they not just only offered them a Chromebook device together with the license, the Chromebook Enterprise, but they also look beyond that. So they've offered that customer device as a service, which means that from the customer's perspective, they can also pick bespoke solutions that are really specific to their needs. And they've also included in the device as a service a leasing contract for 3 years, but also white glove services. And beyond that, because we are also in the theme of sustainability in the environment, so around that also some exciting solutions that they've offered, which is, for example, Reuse, which is a portal where all the employees can actually buy back equipment after the leasing period, or recycling themes and fleet consumption management tools. So it's been really end-to-end a very exciting project for us and for our partners.
Great, and great to call out Econocom. I know they're present at the event this year at Canalys Channels Forum, and of course Econocom has been investing heavily in education. It's a big financing and leasing company in itself. So those are kind of big themes for this year. And of course, you mentioned sustainability, and I think I don't know if you're seeing this, but customers are increasingly influenced by the need for sustainability, and I think this is going to be an opportunity for the channel going forward.
Yeah, and having this ability to actually offer options and solutions to the customers who might not know which direction to go into. Absolutely.
So I mentioned already the fact that Chrome has done very well, and you talked about the growth, and actually Canalys is tracking Chromebook shipments, and we have seen very, very strong growth as well, as you mentioned. Maybe you could briefly talk about the sort of highlights of that. What's really driven that growth? I mean, I know we're all aware of some of the big trends, but perhaps you could talk about from Chrome's perspective, other particular countries that have seen strong performances. Verticals, obviously, are very important. Anything you would like to call out?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, growth is kind of like across, and we've embraced it in so many different ways, and in a lot of different countries as well. But maybe what I could highlight is some specifics where we've really helped the users in certain countries and which vertical sectors. So, for example, we've done quite a bit of work in the Benelux region on the healthcare and really supporting healthcare customers there. In France, we've done joint projects more in the retail sector, and also we're growing in the education and public sector. So that's really been ramping up and thriving. And in the UK market, we've done quite a bit of work with finance organizations who wanted to go digital, and into the public sector, and some in the retail sector as well. So maybe that are the three core countries and verticals that we've been seeing great response.
Okay, excellent. Now, the next question is really no surprise to you, and I guess anybody on the call. Supply and availability is the biggest challenge facing anyone delivering devices into customers. We've really been hamstrung by the lack of supply. What should your partners expect going into next year? Any thoughts from Google on that? And also, you mentioned your relationships with the OEMs. Are you seeing any specifics there? Is the supply issue changing anything in terms of the relationships with your OEMs?
Yeah, I think there's not been one QBR with a partner where we've not talked about supply. It's been a strain really on the industry. As we explained early on, the industry has been thriving, and we've been trying to cope with supporting the work from home policies and return to office and distance learning. So it's no surprise that obviously the supply chain in normal circumstances would have struggled with the demand, but plus obviously with the complexities of the environment in which we are working today, it's not really helped the situation. No. So of course, everybody is doing their best to address this and to be as smooth as possible. Which means that we as a supplier are working very closely with the OEMs and with our partners and our customers, so we can join the dots and really try to understand how we can support each other. But it's not going to be something where we have a miracle cure. So we're going to see some difficulties still. Smoothing as it goes along, but still going into early next year, I think we still have to keep a close eye on what's going on and working closely together on these.
How much do you think it's holding back, growth and opportunity at the moment for Google?
We're still, we're still doing very well. As I said, the growth is still there, but obviously it makes it more complex in terms of, confirming delivery deadlines and then being able to respond proactively and effectively to customer requests. So it's slowing the process, of course, but the market is still thriving. So yeah, we're still embracing it, and we just need to make sure that we support each other and that we are also showing a lot of empathy wherever we can, and not being frustrated with the current situation.
And hopefully explaining that to the customers when they perhaps get frustrated themselves. Okay, very good. Let's talk about the opportunities ahead for your partners in the next 3 to 6 months. Where would you advise your partners to really focus, or what would you suggest that they invest in terms of opportunities with Google Chrome?
I think in terms of the next 3 to 6 months, which is quite a short time scale, it's no surprise to say that we're really focusing on return to the office. And return to office is not going to be like it was before. So we're going to have to support our customers really embracing the new situation and supporting them in that respect. So it could be, a mixed model of back to the office and remote working. So we're going to have to be there really to focus and support that aspect. The other theme that we are seeing in the next 3 to 6 months is also maybe moving from legacy thin clients into a modern OS and VDI. So we are also embracing these changes and working on solutions in that respect. And in terms of education, of course, depending on the countries, the situation is different. But regardless, I think this pandemic has also shaken up what was going on in the education market, and a lot of governments have realized that embracing technology and driving digital change and transformation is also key for the education sector. So we are going to continue supporting these kind of activities and campaigns and driving that together with our partner community.
And of course, you've made huge gains in enterprise customers over the pandemic. I think this is one of the real benefits that Google has seen. So how can partners kind of build on that? Because obviously some of this has been a short-term benefit. How can they build on it and sort of continue to drive market share in those enterprise customers when they're making those decisions about the OS environments that they work with?
Yeah, I think from a partner's perspective, obviously the world is changing in the IT space, and we all need to embrace this net new situation. Digital transformation and cloud were a theme 2 years ago, but it is more prominent now than ever. So the partners who were maybe taking a bit more time actually getting into that play, it's now the time. So really what I would advise is for the partners who have an incline to want to get in but are not sure, to really get trained and deep dive into it, because now is the moment. So we've got a lot of resources available and training platforms available for our partners. So I would suggest really getting stuck in and really going into training courses and really understanding more around that, because that's not accelerating. So we really all need to embrace that. And I would say also from the Chrome perspective, we've now done a lot of work in the last few years in terms of embracing the portfolio of devices that are available, as well as solution sets. So we've got programs around Works with Chromebook, which enables you to attach, third parties or accessories into the solution. And we are also looking at, professional services and other solutions around the customer's needs. So I would say we also have, in terms of the solution sets, a lot available. So I would embrace the partners to come and talk to our partner managers about the opportunities that are there for them. And generally speaking, I think we're at the stage where customers like to have choices, and they like for the partners to understand their needs. So the more we can offer in terms of a portfolio and the range of offerings, the better it is to address the needs of the users. So instead of having maybe a narrow portfolio, we need to really open up the mindset and embrace change and be able to understand what are the needs for certain populations or what are the applications, and offering the best solution for the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. So you talked briefly about with Econocom about the DaaS opportunity, device as a service, and we're seeing a lot of new consumption models in the market. To what extent do you think this is an opportunity for partners?
I think, I mean, I've been in the industry for quite a while, 20 years in working in channel, and I know that device as a service in the last few years has really picked up as a theme for customers. I think in terms of the partner community, maybe we struggle addressing that need. That's really changed now, and a lot of partners are embracing device as a service as an opportunity. And we've done that as well as a business. And we're working, for example, very closely with Acer as one of our OEMs to come up with a device as a service solution, which we've already rolled out in several countries. So Netherlands, France, the UK, in Spain, and in Germany. And we also got some first clients. Okay. So as a reference, I could mention, Altrecht, who is a company supplying medical services and treatments. And they've completely embraced the device as a service. So I would say, the reality is now that the customers are actually going for device as a service as an option, and we should really look at, how we can take that to market.
Yeah, it can be challenging though, because the vendors are pushing it, and some customers are interested, but not all. So I guess it's how well you can position the value prop of the device as a service solution. And from what you're saying, it's for Google. For Google, it's about working with the OEM vendors to come up with those joint solutions.
Yes, definitely. I think it's not a one size fits all anyway. And we can have a specific offering, but then we really need to address the needs of the customers. Otherwise, it's not really going to work. And then it's working. I see the next few months is really working again as an ecosystem to understand, what is the need of the customer and who can actually provide that for them. So it could be an OEM play, it could be a reseller play, and even in terms of what's included in the offering, it's really based on the customer's demand. So unfortunately, not an easy one size fits all, but I think as we work closely together as an ecosystem, we can really embrace that and support our customers.
And I guess it's all about offering choice to customers as well, to meet whichever way they want to consume or purchase.
Definitely. And then at the end, do they want to buy the equipment and acquire it? Do they want to renew? Do they want to, Randstad, give the opportunities for the employees to actually buy back, or do they want to recycle? So there are a lot of different possibilities and options for the customers.
Absolutely. So Sylvaine, let me ask you your last question. Google is, of course, renowned for its innovation in the market. So can I ask you, what one innovation are you personally most excited about for your customers that you see coming out of Google?
Yeah, I think the times where we launch products, especially in the enterprise play, is probably gone. So when I think innovation now, I don't necessarily think about specific technologies, but I really look at solution set and really looking at, how can we support our users by offering a solution that's really fitting their need. And we are doing a lot of work in that space within Google. So I'm sure a lot of positive news are going to come out in the next few months, but really embracing the needs of the users and how we can bring extra value and benefits to them by offering solutions that fit well together.
Okay, great. Well, the future looks very bright, I think, for Google and Google Chrome. So good luck with that. And thank you very much for joining us. Great to talk to you.
Lovely. Thank you.